Right, high energy start. Let's crack on with it, fellas. Liverpool against Wolves. Liverpool won right near the end of the game. Tremendous fitness levels, which we'll get onto in just a minute. But as we saw that roll through, Phil, you said one word as it was rolling along. Champions. Is that what you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't see anything else. I can't even the little bump in the road they had tonight, and it was a tough test against Wolves, and Wolves, to their credit, played really well and had strong spells, but Liverpool were resolute. It's a great goal that Jimenez scored, but Bobby Firmino, who's been probably the key player the past few weeks for Liverpool, shone through and scored a cracking goal, and you can just see the air of confidence, just any sort of blip, they seem to bounce back and get the results, and I just can't see. Maybe the City game at the Etihad might be the other stumbling block, but I think they're gonna cruise it now.
I mean, it's a phenomenal role that they've got themselves on over such a long period of time. As much as we laud the manager, what he's got out of these players, Sadio Mane is talking about the actual fitness levels that he's managed to get them up to. Yes, you've got to be fit to be a top-level Premier League footballer, but, I mean, there's an element of the superhuman about what he's got Liverpool doing, isn't there?
It's amazing, because the numbers that they're hitting wins, you know, with the win after win after win, you know, they've drawn one game. And this is a league that has the teams that, by the way, finished in both, you know, Tottenham, Liverpool, Champions League final, Arsenal, Chelsea, the other final, you know, the Europa League. So that shows you the strength of the division. So and whoever comes in, the players are phenomenal. Mane goes off, you know, they still keep going. Firmino missed a chance, didn't he? But then goes and scores a winner. So they must train to some unreal levels to keep sustaining, keep peaking. So yes, it's a medical staff, it's a manager, the motivation, but they must push each other every day in training. So the players that are playing, but the ones who aren't playing are just as important, because they keep pushing in the gym, the diet, every little bit. They must just be recovering, and they're all growing with the club. There wasn't, you know, there's not one real start, you know, maybe Van Dijk, but still, they all just seem so humble, so focused. So yeah, credit to Liverpool, credit to everyone there, the fans, the journey they're on, and serious records that they're breaking.
Any extra pressure? Matt mentions the records there. It's quite obvious. Obviously, the end game is what they're after, winning the league. But within that time between now and the end of the season, is the pressure on to maintain the records, to maintain this unbeaten run, or is it just about literally getting enough points to get yourselves over the line, regardless of whether you set a new record or whether you remain unbeaten?
It's a drug, though, isn't it, winning? And everyone wants just to keep doing it game after game after game. So that's self-perpetuating. I think that once they get the Premier League title in the bag, then they can really start thinking about, can they go deep in the Champions League? Can they remain invincible? But right now, I can't see them. Yeah, it's in the back of their mind, but Jurgen will be saying to them, look, take each game as it comes, try not to get beaten, let's go and win everything, let's get this title sewn up as quickly as possible. I
mentioned Mane about the fitness levels. Ironically, he limped off in the game and didn't look like an impact injury. I mean, that would be a big miss. Does it leave a hole that can't be filled, or recruitment-wise, have they done enough to be able to drop other players into that?
I think it was Minamino came on tonight, so he came on and he had effect. So you just look at it, and every time, because Fabinho, when he was out, I was thinking he's going to be a massive miss. But look at Henderson stepping up, scoring the goal, but also they've kept the run going because everyone, how influential he was to the system. So I always believe that they will cope. Other players will step up, they'll tweak the system. As you say, it didn't look like an impact injury, maybe it was just a bit of illness he wasn't feeling well, so we'll look at that. But I think they'll cope with it, they will. And, you know, when Salah was missing, they coped. When Alisson was missing, I thought he'd be the only one that I feel would be the biggest miss would be Van Dijk. But he's still got some fantastic players there, but he'd be the one that they could maybe, you know, would have the biggest impact. But I think Mane will be okay, I think he'll be fine, but it's just, I just can't get over the fear it must strike into opposition, because you just know that and their belief they must have, even when teams equalise, whatever, they'll always believe they're going to get back in and win the game.
It's a testament to what he's done with that front three, because they all seem, although on the pitch they're very fluid, when someone's not functioning, one of the others picks up. When Salah's not scoring, it's been Sadio. When either of those two haven't, it's been Bobby. And Bobby, as I said, the past few weeks has just been stepping up to the plate and been fantastic.
From the point of view of between now and the end of the season, yes, they're still in 3 cup competitions. Is one prioritised, do you feel, for Liverpool, or does it go into what you were saying about each and every game is another step towards them being a better team, to being a more consistent team, to being a team that is that confident going from one game to another that they shouldn't rule themselves out of anything?
Well, the first thing you have to look at this weekend's game against Shrewsbury. What changes? Can they navigate that? If they do, then that gives the manager another selection headache further down the line. But it is all about the Premier League title, keeping players fit, getting that in the bag as quickly as possible.
Have they got a big enough squad to deal with chopping and changing, and is there strength in depth there?
I think so. As we've talked about, they are supreme athletes. I always think back to when Bobby Firmino was at the club. When he first came, he couldn't even last 60 minutes. It was a little bit of timber, let's say, and let's be quite kind.
A bit cuddly.
A few of those Brazilian barbecues going on, but and he couldn't last the pace, and season on season. And of course, remember when Jurgen came into the Premier League and with his heavy metal style and the gegenpress and all that, people were going, they'll never last. They're going to burn out. But they've got stronger and stronger, and now it's bearing fruit.
Well, they've got that buy-in, and that's because the training must be relentless, because there's no way that you just turn it on a match day. So the training's relentless. You speak to people, but the buy-in. But when you're winning, and you're winning and breaking records, and you want to do that, well, they prioritise, like Phil says, the Premier League is the one for them. They won the Champions League, 6 times is it now? And obviously only last season. So the Premier League is the one that all the fans would want if they could take any. And obviously the record, being unbeaten all the way through, would be phenomenal. You saw in the game against Everton, even though it was against Everton, it still played a very, very young side. I know they were battling on two fronts, but in the Carabao they had to make the changes. So it shows you with the squad, it is a very, very strong squad. But what would be pleasing for me as well, if I was in the Liverpool camp, those young kids coming through, the way they played against Everton. Of course, Adrian had to make a few fantastic saves, but there was still an identity. So the players coming through. So you look at other clubs, Manchester United, teams like that, people are worried about the succession plan. Tell you what, Jurgen Klopp signed a long-term deal. The players coming through, the ones are getting better. These young players coming in, I tell you what, Liverpool are just going to, for me, just keep going and going and going.
Matt mentions the buy-in there from the players, and it's all well and good as a coach being able to set a team up and getting success from that, but there must be an emotional attachment between the coach and the squad of players that is assembled, that they can do this together. Talking about going that extra mile, those extra yards in training, because, as Matt says, quite simply, you can't perform to that level. Well, I was going to say on a Saturday, but they play every 3 or 4 days now, don't they? But from the point of view of the buy-in, it makes these elite players want to do more, and motivating very well remunerated top athletes is not an easy thing, is it? And
that's the genius of Klopp. He's so personable, he gets into them, he's interested in the players, and they, as you said, they buy into that. He's charismatic. We in the media, we love his press conferences. There's many other fans that wish Jurgen was at their club. He's been a great asset to the Premier League, and Liverpool have done well to keep him and tie him down to that long-term contract.
And he makes players better, so he will be able to recruit now, because players get better underneath him, and he looks at them and he can set and show them, look, you come and sign for me, even if you're not straighten the team in and out, and then you will become a household name. I believe Oxlade-Chamberlain actually came for less money because he knew what he was buying into. So now that is a massive thing. Players aren't signing for the money. They can go and get massive money, but it's about, they want to sign for the badge. When I was growing up, Liverpool were just phenomenal. 30 years, is it, since they won the league title, which you can't believe. But now they are going to be leading, and I'm sure Van Dijk would have had loads and loads of offers, but no, they got it nailed down. He's got that emotional attachment, that connection. You can see him coming on, hugging his players, but at the same time, he's got that aura. He's a big guy as well, but people wouldn't want to upset him. So he's the captain of that ship. The fact that he signed that deal as well will just give everybody that, I don't know, that reassurance and that stability in the club.
You can lose your superstar players, but you can't lose a superstar manager. That contract's been key. It's a great bit of business.